Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. This is Pharmacy again, alright, and today I bring you another video just to talk a little bit more again on Microsoft Excel. So if you have missed my previous videos, just go back and watch for you to be able to know what Microsoft Excel is and how to use it. Today we want to measure in the Microsoft Excel errors, the different kind of errors that are made under Microsoft Excel. So if you haven't liked and subscribed, do the needful so that whenever another video comes in, you do not miss out. It comes to you like a notification. So it's important for us to know what are these Microsoft Excel errors. And by definition, I would say that these are errors that occur when something is wrong with a formula, cell reference, function, or data format. So when this happens, Microsoft Excel will display errors, which I will show you in examples how they usually appear. And so it will be for you, the user, to identify using those codes that it puts, and at the end, be able to troubleshoot and get back on track. So these are the common types, and number one is, so for example, I have a list of codes here that are showing us errors under Microsoft Excel. So for each of these, I'm going to try as much as possible to tell you what it means and examples under it and how to fix it. So number one, we have hash division, divide by 0, and you can see that code. Now that means that there is a cell that has been divided by 0, and we all know that mathematically you cannot divide any number by 0 and have an answer. So that is why it brings you that answer. So for example, maybe we have E2. Okay. So for example, if we say that E2 divide by 0. We've forgotten the plus sign. Remember, we said when we don't include it, then we're just writing a sentence. So we write it properly as equals to, equals to maybe E2 divide by 0. And we press enter. You'll see this is what you'll have. So it's trying to show you that a number cannot be divisible by 0. And so how do we fix it? So you replace the numerator by a figure or a value. So for example, if the 0 changed, so maybe let's say it was at B2 and we had our 70 as the denominator, then if we have to change our numerator and maybe we put 2, our answer is going to be 0. So that is how we do it. Okay, so then next we go to the reference, to the hash reference, and we get to know what it means. Now this shows you that there is an invalid cell reference. For example, maybe the cell was deleted, yet initially it was used. For example, in our total here, when you tap on it, we used the sum of B2 up to H2. So let's assume that the H2 was not there. What is going to be our total? It's automatic. That's because we are using the formula sign. But let's just say, okay, for example, we do have our numbers, 23, 67. Okay, let's use maybe 23, that it's at position E. It's at E8. Okay, so So when we say E8, we mean that it's at this position. So what is going to happen if we delete? Now when we delete that, you see that the href appears to show that that cell reference you're referring to no longer exists. So that is why it comes like that. So the next one is the hash name. So the hash name comes due to an unrecognized name, maybe due to spelling error in the function. For example, if we say equals to, we have 35 and 23. If we want to add them, instead of saying equals sum, we say maybe equals sim. Okay, and so we want to add 35, which is C7 to C8. Close our brackets and we say enter. It's going to bring you equal name because it's wondering what name you have put there. So how do we fix it? Is when you tap here, you realize that, oh, the problem was in the name, and you change it to sum and you say enter. You realize it's going to bring you your answer. And the next one is the hash value. So this usually happens when you've used the wrong type of document in here. For example, you try to add maybe as you're trying to add, for example, this, and maybe it had a word. So you try to add and you also added the words, for example, equal sum. Sorry. So equals, we put our brackets. We want to add 35 plus 23 plus 58 plus the word itself. And we close our bracket and we press enter. You realize it's going to bring hash value. So how do you rectify this? When you come and tap here, you realize that, oh, C10 maybe contains word. So you can either remove it and you press enter, or if there was another number that was supposed to be there besides the word, then you can add it and you'll have the right answer. The next one, we go to the hash n stroke a. So the NA, it means that the value is not available or it's not there in the place in which you're saying it is. And how do we test it? For example, I have this my list of values, and it's usually used in the in the match or in the lookup function. So for example, equals match, and I would say maybe C7, comma, let me try to match this to matching it up to C11 wouldn't be a problem, but maybe let me match it with CC111. I close my brackets, I press enter. You see what it brings? So that is what it means. So how to rectify? It's simply by putting the very cells where these values belong and comparing them, then it would work. Now the null, it's going to show you basically the cell range that is missing. It depends, some formula or a function or a comma or colon or something like that. So for example, let's say that I'd wanted to add maybe the cells, these ones. Okay, so it would be equal to sum What do I want to add? I want to add from C7 to C11. So let's see what happens if I just put the C11, close my bracket and press enter. It would bring hashtag of null. Okay, it's trying to show you that in this cell range, you're missing either a comma or a colon or a formula, or there's something that you've not completed. So when you come back, and you can always rectify it by, I put my colon and I say enter. It's going to bring me the answer if it's within the range. Okay, if it's not, then that's where the problem would come. So it's from C7 to C, or it's to C10. So when I press my enter, I have my total. So that's how we rectify it. And the last one for today, it's going to be equals num. And it basically shows you invalid numeric values, for example, that they even exist in mathematics. For example, you know that you cannot divide a negative, you know that you cannot find the square root of a negative number. So let's try an example, and I will say equals to square root of the simplest, maybe -1, and we press enter. It's going to bring us num. So in conclusion, these are not all, but these are just some of the Microsoft Excel errors that arise even as you're working with Microsoft Excel. And so it's important for you to know what it means so that you're able to rectify the errors and move on with what you're doing. Otherwise, I hope this video has been helpful to you. Thank you so much for listening. See you again. Have a nice day.